Welcome to The Strength to Bloom, the podcast where we spotlight women who've walked through the fire and came out blooming. I'm your host, Lauren Garcia, a community builder, a mama, and a forever believer in the power of storytelling. Today's guest is someone whose story is both deeply personal and incredibly powerful. Natalie Carbone is the founder of Natalyze Behavior, a practice rooted in empathy, knowledge, and the belief that every child deserves to be seen, supported, and celebrated. Her journey began while advocating for her own daughter through the complex world of developmental and behavioral challenges, a journey that many parents know all too well. And as a pediatric nurse practitioner, I've witnessed firsthand the transformational power of advocacy, how one empowered voice can shift the trajectory of a child's care, confidence, and future. Natalie's work is truly a testament to that. So I want to begin with today's story.
Thank you.
So, Natalie, take us back to the beginning. Yes. What was the moment or the season that planted the seed for Natalyze Behavior?
So for me, when I began doing this, it was just creating content on my daughter, on my Instagram, and I wanted families to see that they weren't alone, that there were other people that were going through a similar situation, just like them. But as I continued creating the content, I started to notice my traction was coming from my direct messages, which were a lot of parents asking for support, asking for advice, asking for where they can get their resources. And once I saw that, that's when that little light went off in my head. And I said, why not create a brand? And Natalyze Behavior was born.
I love that. So what were some of the hardest parts that you dealt with advocating for your daughter that others may not have seen?
For me, it would just have to be just the mental drain that it takes on you, preparing for meetings, constantly telling people what you see and they're telling you otherwise. You're going blue in the face. You're a parent. You're with your kid the most, obviously, even though teachers are as well. But I think that in itself just takes a toll, especially if you're not prepared for the meeting. You're going in there blind. It's better to have all the information. And that's what I've learned, at least on my end with my journey.
Yeah, I could totally see how stepping into an IEP meeting with the child study team for the first time can be super intimidating, even as a nurse, because I didn't get a chance to really be with that child. Being in those meetings was intimidating for me. And
exactly,
you have to be the type of parent that steps up for your kid, that really does their research. So having someone like you being able to kind of guide them through that, I think is super important. I think it's really necessary.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So what do you think as a personal experience really shaped you into building Natalyze?
My personal experience would be when I was working out of a pediatrician's office, just constantly telling them, like, I know there's something wrong with my daughter. She's not meeting her milestones. And them giving me a lot of pushback. I remember there was even a point where you're familiar with like an MChat,
yes,
doing the surveys and all that, where they did tell me if I was lying on my surveys. And I was like, why would I lie? Like, there's no reason that I would make any of this up. Like, I know what I'm seeing. And they just chalked it up to her being delayed. But because of that, that's why I advocate so loudly now. Because I don't want any parent to go through what I went through.
You know, I'm going through, with my dad. Luckily, he is very attuned to his body. So anytime he felt something off, he would consistently say like there's something wrong. And even during my diagnosis of lupus, I had to advocate for myself too. Like, I need you to do this, and this, because I don't feel right. And I'm looking at the signs and symptoms. And even me as a medical professional, I had to advocate myself to some doctors. And I feel like that's truly what's wrong with medicine. For me, when I'm with a patient, the one thing that I try to do my hardest on is listen to the parents. I do not spend time with these kids. I am in and out of those rooms in 15, 20 minutes. And when a parent tells me this is what I'm seeing, I need to listen. I need to make.
I remember moving. I'm so sorry I interrupted you. I remember moving to another doctor and she had saw my daughter for 10 minutes, just met her. And I've done a lot of work with Sienna. Like, she wasn't verbal up until she was 4 years old.
Wow.
So she actually asked me, like, are you sure? are you sure she was diagnosed? I said, no, that's a lot of work that went into that. Like her being able to say her name, how old she is, what grade she is. And it's basically like a script for her that she's repeating.
Yeah.
And just little things like that. It's like you don't feel seen, you don't feel respected
Yeah.
at that
And
point.
I'm sure not only is it hard for you, but as a like your family in like whole, because you also see your
Yes, of
daughter
course.
struggling. So I know that there's a lot of other parents going through these same situations. So I really
Exactly,
commend
yes.
you for talking about it because it's coming from a vulnerable point. It's hard to like speak
Yes.
about it. This is your daughter. This is your
I know, but when I first started doing it, it took a lot of like time just thinking about, am I sure I want to broadcast this to the world? I'm going to get negative like comments. I'm going to get family even telling me that they don't agree with what I was doing.
yeah.
But I think it's the best decision I've ever made, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that my next question, because you did speak about doctors kind of not really believing what was going on, what are the biggest
Yes.
misconceptions about behavioral and developmental diagnosis that you hope your business, Natalyze, helps break down?
So when it comes to that, I don't know if this is the correct answer for it, but I want to break stigmas. That's why I started this as well. I'm Dominican, I'm Hispanic. So growing up Hispanic, you see a lot when it comes to medical situations. It's always kept a secret. It's like, don't tell anybody. This is our private business. And I don't like that. I don't understand it, to be honest with you, because you do need that support. You do need that love. So when my daughter was diagnosed, I told my mom, I'm going to make sure my whole family knows, because how are they going to be able to be good for her as well? Like, she's not used to sounds. She doesn't like to be touched. So imagine now you have all these people kissing and
In a
touching on her.
Hispanic household where music is blasting.
Exactly. Or when you're trying to leave because your kid's having a meltdown and it's like, no, why are you leaving? They're not the ones that run the show. You're the parent here. And I'm like, oh my
But
God.
it's very
So that is something that I've worked so hard with, and my family has come such a long way when it came to educating themselves with my daughter. And it's been amazing, but I want to break stigmas when it comes to that.
no, and I think it's important to break those stigmas in Latino communities because
Yes,
we primarily live in a Latino urban community. So I think it's
exactly.
super important. I think it's super important because I grew up the same way. It was like, what are you going to do in therapy? Talk to me. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to you.
I know I know somebody who's I'm 33 years old who went to school with me on the spectrum as well. And unfortunately his parents were Hispanic. There was no resources for them. There was a language barrier at that.
Yeah.
And he didn't get the therapy that he did need at the time. And that's something that stuck with me as well. And I do want to change that.
Oh, I love that because I truly feel like we all are trying to break our generational like
Yeah.
traumas. So I think that's super important. And I think that you're really on the right path. You truly are.
Thank you.
So you've mentioned in, that Natalyze is about celebrating every step forward, no matter how small. So can you share a moment with me that reminded you of why your mission matters so much?
Yes. So I have a client I work with 4 days a week. I love him so much. And when you don't see the progress, you kind of second guess yourself a lot. You're like, am I doing things correctly? But as of last week, he is 10 years old and he can't read, unfortunately. I don't know why the school hasn't like really pushed him on that or why they weren't working with him. But as of last week, he read a whole story to me by himself. And that for me was so big. Like that made me know like we're on the right track. We're getting somewhere
Yes.
now,
It is.
and that means more to me than like something that could have been even bigger than that, than a
Yeah,
bigger
it's
win.
those small wins that truly make such a bigger impact because then he also sees how much you're excited for him and that just makes him
Yes.
more excited. I
And his family too, they were like all clapping in the kitchen. It was so cute.
Yeah. Oh, he needs to be celebrated. You see, like that.
And just seeing the family that like they're good with me too, and they are so appreciative of everything I'm doing, that just literally makes the job so much more like warming,
Yeah.
makes me want to go every day.
Oh, I mean, I can completely relate. I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner, so I work with kids all the
Yes.
time, and sometimes I have to tell them things that they may not want to hear. So, like, for example, I had a patient a little overweight, and I never like to tell my clients, you need to go on a diet because they're kids, you
Yeah.
know? Like it's not about a diet, it's about creating healthy habits. So she came, I wanted to see her back in 2 months, and I wanted to see some differences in her blood work and the way she felt about herself. She came back with a huge smile on her face. She's taking walks, she's going to the park, she's swimming,
I
she's
love that.
great cardio, and she was just so excited. And I could see.
Just to see that.
Yes, and it makes so much of the difference when the mom comes to me and she's like, I've never seen her so excited to hear things that she may not have wanted to hear, but do the work anyways. And
Yes.
she she's like, I want to continue seeing you. I want her to continue seeing you because you're her biggest advocate. And that means so much. And I know that you
And the way that you guys connected and
understand.
you paired with her as well too.
Absolutely. Like, like some doctors are very old school and they come in and they're like, you're fat and you need to figure something out.
Yeah,
That's not how
exactly.
you speak. You have to learn who you're.
That's no bedside manner at
Yes.
that point.
And I have learned a lot that some doctors really need to go like back to school on just bedside manner.
Yes, I worked with one, so I know.
There was one moment that I think shifted everything for me, and it was our first opinion that we got when my dad was sick. And the doctor came in, didn't evaluate him at all, looked at the EMGs and was like, you have a 99% chance that this is ALS. I'm 99% sure. You have 3 to 5 years to live. Like I could put you on medication,
Yeah, just
but it just expands your life like 4 months. Like, why would you want that? And don't worry, like New Jersey has physician assisted suicide. So it's okay.
oh
I
wow.
was like 32 weeks pregnant. My dad starts crying. I start crying. I feel like my whole, how like,
Like just getting all that information at once like that too.
yeah, I have never experienced anything like that. And I'm sure that, going through the motions with your daughter, you felt like, and I'm sure like when you see other kids and they're doing things that your daughter is not, like you feel like your world has stopped and like
Yeah.
everybody is just going by you. Like people were walking in the hallways like nothing, and I'm just seeing like black. And I just
Yes.
remember saying like, and I was just graduating to become a nurse practitioner. I remember thinking to myself in the car, and I'm like, I never want to be that man ever. Like, if there's one thing that I'm going to do, is I'm going to at
Is be the complete
Yes,
opposite.
have empathy. Like maybe sometimes the parents can be a little over dramatic, but I will
Yes.
always take into account what they're feeling, because there is just no way that I would want anybody to walk out of my room feeling the way that I felt walking out of that man's room.
I actually take pride in that. Like when I was a medical assistant, I made sure like I had those relationships with all my patients because of that. Like I worked at a high risk OBGYN. That was the last place I was at. And we're going through miscarriages. We're going through a lot of different things. So I made it a point to make sure every patient felt seen, to the point where I'm memorizing their name. I'm memorizing their dog,
Yeah.
their parents' name, just so they know like you're not just a number at this point. And I think that also now has extended into Natalyze Behavior and why I'm able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think that's what makes you special. Like being
Thank
able to do
you.
that. It takes a really, and I'm not saying this because obviously we're on the call, but it takes a special person to be able to do that. Sometimes you see certain people in positions where you need to be that way and they're not, and you're just like, this is just a
Yes.
job for you. You need to have that level of empathy. You're not going to like be a pushover or anything, and I don't think that that's what that means. I think
No, it wasn't at all. Yeah.
it just means taking.
No, and I would have my coworkers, they're like, I don't understand why you do that. What's the point of that? And I was like, trust me, it's not for me. I'm not doing it for me. But these ladies are pregnant. They're hormonal. They're going through a very difficult time. Like, why are you adding on to it?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think it really takes a lot to be that
Thank
kind of
you.
person, because and that brings me into my next question, because I go through this a lot because I feel the same exact way as you. And so sometimes I feel like I'm filling up other people's cup and not filling up my own. And
Yes.
I truly do believe, and I say this all the time, that I was put on this earth to be of service for other people. But I
Me too.
cannot be a good person for others if I don't feel my best either. So how do you care for yourself while carrying so much emotional space for other people?
That's actually funny you bring that up because last week I had a moment where I was very overwhelmed and anxious, where I even shared it on my Instagram of me crying, and I felt like I wasn't showing up as the best version of myself for my daughter. I was very agitated. She was noticing herself. Like, she would ask me, "Mom, are you mad?" Because she was seeing the different tone of my voice. And that's not the first time that's happened to me. I've noticed that I'm guilty of doing that a lot, like not putting myself first when I need it the most. So I decided, something I did, which I never do, is I took the whole weekend to not post anything and just focus on myself and read a book. I went for a walk. I listened to a podcast. And at my previous job that I mentioned, working at the OB, I remember a patient told me, "You are pouring 80% into this job and going home with 20. You can't do that. That's not making sense to me." And that was 100% true because I would go home drained. I was carrying people's problems on me as well and taking it home with me. So I'm still learning. I don't have it down pat yet. I'm learning also just maybe to fix my routine a little bit as well. That's playing a role in it. But I really encourage any mom just to really focus on yourself. You were you before you were a mom.
Yes,
And that is so important.
it's hard. Sometimes I feel like,
Easier said than
yeah,
done.
yeah, 100%. I feel like we lose our identity sometimes when we go
Yes.
through shifts in life, period, right? But becoming a mom, it's like it's not like you're pouring into somebody and then at the end of the day you're like, "Okay, bye, I'll see you tomorrow." Like
Yes.
they're with you, right? Like,
It's nonstop.
yeah. So it is very different. I think as a mom of two, they're very small. It is sometimes hard. And I think the best thing that I've done to my routine is close my laptop as soon as we get home and go outside and play. We built them this huge playhouse and you saw it.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
them.
It was something that I've always wanted in my childhood, but I lived in North Bergen. So like there
Oh
was,
my god, I've always wanted one too.
yeah. So I'm like literally living out my childhood dreams through them. I'm buying them like little accessories.
I feel like that too. She has like a trampoline in the middle of the living room. Like, go for it.
Yeah. So it's great. And I feel sometimes before I used to like work all through the night. And at some point my son was like, "Mommy, can you stop working and play with me?"
And look, they're noticing it.
That hit me like a bag of bricks. And I was like, "Oh my God, is this how they see me? That I'm just constantly
Yeah.
working?" So I think that that was something super.
Like, they're not seeing like you're available for them.
Yeah. And I don't ever want them to feel that way. So I think
Yeah.
the best thing that I did, and then when we put them to sleep, I got a Kindle, I'm reading books. My goal is 48 books this year. And
Oh, I read that last year. Like 46, I read.
I surpassed it already. Like that's how much
You did? Oh, I love that.
I love books in general. I'm like definitely the nerd that would go back to school just to
Me
do
too.
homework. But I feel like we're
Me
pretty
too.
similar.
Just to write notes.
Yeah. So I'm just so excited for like this new shift. I was reading
Yes, me too.
yeah, I was reading an article about, and I'm going to share it with you because I think this would be really, really good for
Oh,
you.
please do.
It's called the slow bloom method. So it's how to be in your like soft girl era, but still be hustling, but just taking it
Yes.
slower. It's about getting grounded.
Oh,
more-
please share that with me. Yes.
I when I saw it, I'm like, this is it. This is for me. It was,
I have like no middle right now.
yeah,
It's either at 100 or at 0.
I know, and that's hard. That's really hard.
Yes, like we're just trying to be like these super moms and we're trying to do everything and we can't.
Yeah. And I know like for you it's like being a mom times two because you're also you know you're playing with her but you're also trying to teach her too, you know?
We're doing ABA, yes,
Yeah.
throughout the day because I'm her therapist.
Yeah. I love that you can do that
Yes.
for her. And I love that it's somebody that she knows because I think that's another struggle. Sometimes kids get therapists that they just do not connect with. And I think that that is,
I've heard that so many times.
and I think that that's a huge obstacle for them because if they do not
Yes,
connect with you, then they're not going to do what they're supposed to do.
exactly. How do you move forward
Yeah.
at that point?
Yeah. So I think it's so great that you are her therapist.
Thank you. I know a lot of her teachers at first, they were like, "Oh, are you sure that's not like too much, mom and therapist?" I was like, "It's worked for us for 6 years and what's broken, you don't
Yeah,
fix it."
absolutely. I wouldn't. And I think that nobody would advocate for her like you. So at the end of
Yes,
the day,
exactly. Or no, and like I'm able to know exactly what she needs now.
yeah. And it's like that you don't push her too hard, but you push her just enough to get her over that,
Yes,
you know, that step.
exactly.
Because sometimes they also, because they're not creating that relationship with them, they maybe push them too hard because they don't know
Yeah.
where their stop is.
No, I've heard horror stories about therapists
Yeah.
and like with different kids. So definitely did not want that
Yeah.
happening to me. And I'm so lucky that the two clients I have had, we've paired so greatly.
Yeah. And with peds, I truly feel as a pairing of not just you and the kid, but you, the kid and the family. So
Yes,
you have to also be willing to like compromise and like get to know them and understand them. So yeah.
exactly. No, I 100% agree with you.
So I think one of the biggest things for me is sometimes I hit things where I'm questioning a lot of what I'm doing. Is this the right path for me? Is this the right move? Are these strategies even working? So have you ever faced moments where you question your ability to keep going, and then what helped you keep blooming through them?
Yes, for sure. I've questioned myself on multiple occasions. Like, if I'm not seeing traction on my social media the way I want to, or I don't see my brand is moving in the direction I want to, I start to question myself. Like, is this something I should be doing? Should I take a pause from it? But right there, right then in that moment is when I receive the most beautiful messages. And it'll be like, you're seen, I'm watching you, keep going. And just those little messages, I always keep them, I screenshot them, and I do go back to them when I need them the most.
I, and it goes to show you like how just like taking 2 minutes out of your day to reach out to somebody who you've been watching for a while and just say like, hey, I see you. And I just want to know, I
Yes.
want you to know that you're actually like inspiring me. I get those messages too. And I screenshot
And they're so beautiful. Yeah. No, and I always tell them, like, I don't just give them like a basic thank you. I let them know, like, thank you for seeing me because there's moments where I do need to hear that.
yeah.
And in this moment particular, I needed it and I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I love that, and I think that does help push through
Yes,
those hard times, and that's why I think
for sure.
building things like Bloom Social Club for me, and now the Strength to Bloom. I think building a sisterhood is really important because you need to be grounded in
The
support.
community,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
100%.
So for me, the Strength to Bloom is kind of my story and the platform that I'm using to be able to share other women's stories like yourself. But what does Strength to Bloom mean to you in the day to day work that you do with families?
For me, it means honoring the progress, not, I mean, the process, not just the progress. Like, it's the journey in itself.
Yeah.
And it's the little wins that we have in itself as well. So it could be something as small as just like a parent learning how to navigate a meltdown. Just one thing they learned that day. And that for me is blooming for them. And that's strength as well for me now that that's giving me.
Yeah. It's hard because I feel like everybody is so concerned with that end game. What
Yeah, and I'm guilty of
Of
it.
course, I feel like
Yes.
we all are, but it's also comes to a point where sometimes you get so disappointed that you just stop altogether.
Yes.
And I love that you celebrate those small wins because it's the small wins that add up to the bigger
Yes. I say that all the time.
yeah.
Yes.
and and I think we both struggle with that, but I think anybody listening right now can attest to the fact that they do look just at the bigger picture and not the little things that got them there.
Exactly. Yes.
And I think sometimes when you don't reach that goal you set, you can get so disappointed, but instead I challenge people to see like where you were shifted to. I believe in God, and I think that he wouldn't have put
Yes, me
something
too.
in my path or closed a door if a window wasn't open somewhere else.
Yes.
So you don't
Amen.
yeah, you don't
Yes.
have to believe in God, but if you believe in a
But yes.
higher power, I do believe that.
Like, you needed all these steps to get where you're going.
Yeah, and even if that
Hmm.
place that you reach isn't the place you originally wanted, it's still there for a reason, and I think we need to bask
And
in the
it's
fact.
molding you as a person, it's molding your
Yep. And I think that that's where Strength to Bloom comes from. So I love that.
No, I love everything that you stand for. It's very beautiful.
I think we are pretty much very similar. I think we stand for this.
Yes, I feel like we're like living the same
Yeah,
life.
yeah, different. And that's why I created this. And I'm going to tell you, my platform was not like this for Mrs. New Jersey International. And I thought long and hard about it because I do really care about ALS awareness and about
Yeah.
women empowerment, but that's my story and it may not be everybody else's story. So for me, I was like, how do I change this and how do I make an impact for other people? And it's this.
Yeah, like incorporate it
Yes.
into yours. Yes.
So it's still my story. It's still the way I'm sharing and but I get to do it with my sisters, with a sisterhood behind me. And so
Yes. And it's so important.
yeah, it is. I don't think that I could have made it through these past few years if I didn't have the women that I met through Bloom Social Club. So
Oh, I completely agree with you.
yeah.
100%. I feel like the people I've been so lucky to meet now doing this in this community, like these are my forever friends now.
Yeah.
And it's not even in the sense that just because they are, they're in a similar walk of life that I'm in, it's just because of the way that they are, the way we've connected.
How accepting they are, how understanding, how they let
always checking up on you. Do you need anything? How's your kid? Little things like that go such a long way.
absolutely. And it's hard to find those people.
Yes, it's hard to find your village.
Yeah. So I feel like having places to go like the Strength to Bloom, like Bloom Social Club it's kind of like a sanctuary for me.
Like a safe place, yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited and I'm really glad that you agreed to be on the show.
Oh my God, of course. Thank you for having me.
We're not done yet. Hold on.
I know.
We're all like emotional, but
Imagine I'm like,
yeah. So I think that one of the questions that I think is going to resonate the most with women listening who may be going through the same journey you are is what advice would you give to another mom who's just starting a similar journey, who feels very overwhelmed, unsure, and like craving that support?
So just to bounce off exactly what we were just talking about, the village, I literally have said it and I'll say it again multiple times. I think it's so important to have that village. And I know not a lot of people aren't lucky enough to have family that supports them or they don't have a friend group at that. But it's not even that you need 10 people, 20 people. Just find 2 good people in your corner because you're going to need that for your mental sanity with everything that you're going through. And also another piece of advice is educate yourself. You should never go into a meeting just yes, yes, yes. How do you know 100% that everything they're saying is correct if this is your kid and you're the one who knows them the best?
Yeah, absolutely. I have 2 things to say to that because I do believe educating yourself is so important. The child study team, depending on where you are and who they are, they can be your biggest asset, but sometimes they go into that meeting with a very average looking contract of like what they do for everybody, but every child is different. Every child needs different things. So you need to educate yourself on what child study team does, what an IEP does, what a school can actually do for you. Because sometimes parents come back to me and they say,
no, you're right.
Yeah, they don't have therapy. They're not going to do it. I'm like, well, that is their job. Like if you haven't
exactly, I've heard that.
Yeah, they need to do that. So I end up writing scripts saying like, you need to do this for my patient, because unfortunately now, especially after COVID, developmental evaluations with the state have a waiting list of 10 months. I've heard that they're not
forever right now.
I've heard that they've said we don't even have a waiting list anymore because it's that long. So the school needs to buckle up and my charge, So
and that's a big thing that I'm trying to do. I'm sorry for cutting you off as well, is changing my community. And that's why I've been working, like I was telling you, with the superintendent of schools, so we can make these differences in this community and help these kids out 10 times more.
It's great that they have somebody like you who's already been in those shoes fighting for them, because now you're not just fighting for your daughter, but you're fighting for the families that are actually surrounding your daughter, because you're talking to the superintendent of your daughter's district. So you want to make sure that the kids in her class are also getting the same advocacy that your daughter is getting. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and like I attend like this support group that they offer here in my town as well. And there are a lot of parents that just speak solely Spanish. And I was able to walk around and connect with them a lot. And I was just telling them, like, I'm just so proud of you for coming because I know that takes a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you feel uncomfortable because, you only speak Spanish, you don't speak English. But the fact that you stepped out and you're trying to help your kid just says so
Yeah,
much
it
in
speaks.
itself.
It speaks.
Volumes, yes. And they see that too. Like, look at my mom. She's getting help for me. Like, she's trying.
And I think it's important for the kids to also see that, because if they don't see their own parents fighting for them, they're gonna check out, right? If my own parent
Exactly. They
won't.
need somebody in their
Yeah,
corner.
exactly. And that's why sometimes I hear so many great stories of like that one teacher that made the difference in that kid's life. And I feel like we need.
Mine was my daughter's kindergarten
Yeah,
teacher.
I feel like we need more of that. But
Yes.
it comes with, hopefully, having people like you with that empathy, with that understanding, because it does take a really strong person to be that way.
Thank you. And I know it's not easy, and I know it takes its tolls, but these kids deserve it more than anything in the world. No, and I love too that since the beginning of the year I went into all the meetings explaining to them what I did with my daughter. So in every meeting, okay, mom, you started off, because I would have my notebook, I have my folder. They know I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love that.
They're not trying to talk over me.
That is
Yes.
super important. So my next big thing, because I am a business girl at heart, what do you hope Natalyze Behavior will become in the next few years? Like, what is your 5-year vision? What's your blue sky scenario?
My big thing would be to get into more schools and just continue to make these changes. Right now, Natalyze Behavior is just solely me. And I know there's so many other parents that want to do what I'm doing, that are already doing what I'm doing. So in the next 5 years, I want to create an even bigger team
I love that.
with this brand and just really like spread it out, not just to my town, to different counties, to different cities, and help other kids as well.
I can already see it, like a Natalyze Behavior, like committee leader in Hudson County, Bergen County, Essex County. That would be,
I hope
yeah.
so.
And then like,
They already told me that I'm the advocate for like my town for like the kids. So I was like, oh, thank you so
yeah,
much.
I mean, that means a lot. That means a lot, especially in a town as big as
Yeah,
the one that you are in. That town is huge. The
yeah,
student
exactly.
population is insane. So I think that is huge in and of its own. But if you can definitely take it to other
Thank
places, I
you.
think you would make such a big.
Yeah, and I've heard so many other places that need it as
Yeah,
well.
I think.
So this is definitely just the beginning.
I love that. So, rapid fire, really quick. I want you to tell me, what is your favorite thing to do with your daughter?
My favorite thing to do with Santa, we have so many things that we do, but my favorite thing is we love to try out new parks. So I'm always on Instagram, on TikTok, finding like these cool parks for her that specifically cater to kids on the spectrum. Because believe it or not, in New Jersey, there are a lot of parks. Not in our area, unfortunately, but there are parks that cater to them more,
Amazing.
and it's like colorful, it has like sound, sensory things like that. So that's like our little thing right now, trying out different parks, and we call it our adventure.
I love that. And I do love to see like all these
It's so
parks.
cute.
I didn't know that they.
And like we went to the park the other, yeah,
That is
so many. And then we went to the park the other day and they had like the swing for like autistic kids, and she was so happy because it's like one of those, like it looks like a ride kind of, you're
they
like strapped in,
feel
and it's just more comfortable because she doesn't have her balance yet, she's kind of falling.
amazing.
So little things like that, she notices it as well.
Are they far?
No, we literally walk
Oh,
more majority of the time.
amazing. I love that.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are done with our interview. And I just want to say thank you so much. You are the
Thank you
first
so much.
interview of the Strength to Bloom podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So that is really exciting for me. And I think,
That is exciting.
yeah, and I think that this is going to be one of the best episodes, because I think what you're doing is truly making an
Thank
impact.
you.
And there are a lot of families
I
going through
appreciate
this.
that. Thank
You
you.
know, I see you opening a park
Yes.
too. Put that on your checklist.
Thank you. Right? Put that on, like, I'm gonna make a vision board.
Yes, in the town. I think that
Yes.
that's what you need to do.
Yes.
That would be,
Because there's none right now. I would love to do
I
that. Thank you so much. I think I can do it.
yeah.
I already got our autistic child signs on our block, so I think I can accomplish that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they would love that. And you know that the mayor is really into doing things for the
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
yeah.
Yes.
So I think that it can be done, and I think that you can check that off. I think you can.
For sure. Oh my God. Fingers crossed and God willing.
So, Natalie, I just want to say thank you so much for being here, for sharing not only your
Thank you.
story, but your heart. Because I think that also takes a
Of
really
course.
strong
Thank
person
you.
to share a story that is really vulnerable for you personally. And I truly believe that you're showing the world and these women what it means to bloom through uncertainty, to lead with compassion, and to fiercely believe in every child's potential, not just your own. And if anybody wants to follow you and follow your story, or they need advice, can you tell
Yes.
them where they can find
Or reached out. Yes.
where can they find you?
They can find me. I am at Natalyze Behavior on Instagram right now. If you go on my Instagram, there's a link in my bio that also has my contact information along with any other social media I'm using at the moment.
Okay, awesome. And I will put it in the caption. I'll put it on the screen so you guys can follow her. And as someone who
Thank
works
you.
in pediatrics, I know that the road isn't always easy for the families navigating these systems. And having someone like you in their corner will make all the difference. So, again,
Thank you so much.
yeah, and if any family feels like they need somebody in their corner, I truly believe that Natalie is the person for you wherever
Thank
you
you.
live.
Please, yes, always reach out.
So, please take a moment to share this video if you feel like somebody needs this video, or if you need the episode, if you're hearing it. And tag us on social. Let us know what part of Natalie's story stuck out to you. And then until next time, I want you guys to stay strong, stay grounded, and to keep blooming.
Bye. Thank you.